golf carts may become street legal in St. George, the Mesquite Hot Air Balloon Festival over the weekend, and the pygmy rabbit could warrant federal protections.
You're watching St. George News at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Amy Bennett. St. George City is discussing whether or not golf carts should be allowed on certain city streets. Here's Maury Kessler with more on the recent City Council meeting.
Who can operate them? We can't require a driver's license, but we can require an age. And also, where in the city would you like them to be operated?
That was Assistant City Attorney Ryan Dooley speaking to the St. George City Council Thursday about a proposed ordinance that would allow golf carts to be driven on certain city streets. With the exception of communities like Sun River, it is currently illegal to drive golf carts on streets in St. George. The ordinance discussed by the City Council Thursday would change that by allowing golf carts to be driven on a street with a speed limit of 25 miles per hour or less. Additionally, drivers would have to be 16 years old or older to legally operate the golf carts. Thursday's discussion was a follow-up from last year when the council discussed the need to regulate golf cart use following a request from police who have had to deal with incidents involving young children recklessly driving golf carts, particularly in the Little Valley area.
Thanks, Maury. Southern Utah is the place to be if you're an author looking for help with your writing. Here's Adele Park with some groups that aspiring authors can join to hone their skills.
Writing can be a lonely business, but that doesn't mean writers have to go it alone. Support groups such as Write On St. George, formerly known as the Heritage Writers Guild, bring people together to help everyone become better at their craft. Writers' improvement groups meet weekly at the St. George and Washington City libraries. Group member Marilyn W. Richardson says writers bring 5 pages of their work for other writers to critique. The Institute for Continued Learning at Utah Tech also has 2 classes aimed at writers: Writing Your Life Story, taught by Richardson, and Writing Your First Novel, taught by Dr. Warren Stuckey. The fiction class covers a number of important topics, including point of view, how to write dialogue, and plot construction.
Over the weekend, the Mesquite Hot Air Balloon Festival unfolded at the Casablanca Resort and Casino in Mesquite, Nevada. Thousands of spectators witnessed 35 vibrant balloons from the U.S. and Canada soaring from Friday through Sunday. A balloon with one of the longest journeys hailed from Philadelphia. Mark Whitting, one of the owners and operators of the circus-themed balloon, told St. George News that the Mesquite Festival is one of his favorites. So much so that he and his wife are now searching for homes in St. George after falling in love with the people and the area. Southern Utah's native pygmy rabbit may gain federal protections after a recent finding by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Here's Alicia Lundgren with more on this cute little critter.
On January 25th, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service released 90-day findings for 10 species, including the pygmy rabbit, and found that 9 of those species may warrant protections under the Endangered Species Act. The world's smallest rabbit species, pygmy rabbits, can be found throughout southern Utah and seen here in footage courtesy of the Bureau of Land Management.
Thanks, Alicia. St. George News reporter Jesse Bang sat down with a Cedar High School art teacher who is known for combining pottery with human faces. Here's Jesse on how this artist got started in his ceramics career.
Brandon Wainwright is a ceramics artist that also teaches art at Cedar High School. He's combined his love for theater, people, ceramics, and sculpting by creating vessels with a variety of quirky human faces. Wainwright said he's always loved art, but didn't take his first sculpting class until college. He first challenged himself to create clay hands, which came surprisingly easy, and he hasn't stopped creating pottery art since.
Thanks, Jesse. And now on to Candace Chris for what happened this past week in sports.
Thanks, Amy. In Region 9 boys basketball, Dixie continues to dominate the region, beating Crimson Cliffs 71-60. At the half, it was a 1-point game, but the Flyers ended up pulling away in the end on the back of Kyle Lemke, who ended the game with 27 points. Desert Hills beat Pineview at home in a game that was a lot closer than the score intended. Panthers guard Nash Schroeder had a game-high 19 points, but it wasn't quite enough to get it done as they fell 55-45 to the Thunder. And Cedar got the blowout victory over Hurricane, with the final score being 77-51 for the Reds. Cedar was getting everyone involved on the offensive side, with 5 players finishing with double digits in scoring. And in Region 9 girls basketball, Dixie beat Crimson Cliffs 66-33. The Flyers played some impeccable defense in the second half, only allowing 2 points in the third quarter and 6 in the fourth. And Desert Hills came out on top over Pineview after being tied at 24 at the half. Ashton Hansen was the leading scorer for the Thunder and finished the night with 15 points. The final of this one was 57-40 for the Thunder. And on the last Region 9 girls game, Cedar beat Hurricanes 62-50. The Reds were led by Gabby Gomez, who dropped 31 points and also set a school record for most threes in a single game with 9. And sticking with high school sports, but moving on to wrestling, the Hurricane Tigers secured their first Region 9 title in over 20 years after winning 9 of their 14 matches against Cedar. And also, after finishing in second place behind Snow Canyon, the Desert Hills Cheerleaders secured the all-girl cheerleading state title. And the Crimson Cliffs Mustangs ended up winning their second co-ed cheerleading state championship in a row. Now back to you, Amy.
Thank you for watching St. George News at 5. I'm Amy Bennett with St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
This has been St. George News at 5.